What highly illegal thing took place at your high school? Two students planned and carried out a coordinated attack on one of the math teachers by waiting by the top of the stairs between periods. And when he passed by them to go down the steps, one of them pushed him from behind while the other put his leg out to trip him. The teacher fell down the steps and broke his neck and back and was paralyzed from the neck down. The kid's reasoning: because one of them was dropped from the basketball team because he was failing that teacher's math class. Both of them were 15 years old. So they didn't get jail time. They both got expelled and were sent to juvenile detention. The teacher sued the school district and got a settlement in the lower 7-digit range. Our football coach took off with one of the girls in the high school and moved to Mexico and married her. He had a wife and kids. They then hired a brand new football coach who was 23 years old. Before the end of his first year, he was hooking up with an 18-year-old senior girl. They also took off and went somewhere. We went without a coach for a couple years. My golf coach got arrested in Kansas for driving with a spare tire full of coke. I interviewed to teach at a high school once. One of the questions from the school board was, can you avoid sleeping with your students? Me: yes. Yes, I can. School board thinks I'm great. Principal thinks I'm great. Superintendent of schools doesn't think I'm cut out for the job. Gives me the runaround. Principal is trying to help me push through it and get hired, but I finally give up and get a normal job elsewhere. Superintendent hires his nephew, wonder why he gave me the runaround, who promptly has sex with a student and gets fired. I still see the principal occasionally, he always apologizes, I wanted to hire you. He's way too nice to have been stuck at that lousy school. The principal was ducking students. A few years after I graduated, some parents found out and took him to court. He hanged himself before he could be convicted. Edit, corrected the word from hung. Over spring break one year, the entire hockey team and the cheerleaders all went to rehab. The goalie was dealing coke to all of them. My teacher was molesting my 14-year-old classmate for a while. He went to jail and is still there 20 years later because another past victim came forward. So that's pretty illegal. Knew a guy that sold coke in class and tried to offer a girl pot to sleep with him. There was also some public underage sex in one of the halls that lead to a girl starving herself until she miscarried. Drama teacher slept with the hottest chicks in class and nothing ever happened to him. A film crew lied about what kind of film they were making. Turns out it was porn. So my high school is the setting of the film The Cheerleaders. Pretty sure that's illegal. Yeah, it's pretty tame. What do you want from me? I live in Cupertino. We had a softball coach sleep with his students. But a far more interesting story that didn't technically take place on school grounds. There was this kid who was constantly being harassed by bullies. They would even follow him after school and attack him. So there was this hardware store across the street and a lot of kids would hang out in the parking lot after school. The bullies chased the kid inside and cornered him in the garden section. They kept hitting and kicking him, so the dude grabbed an axe from one of the shelves and just started swinging. All the bullies ended up in the hospital with various injuries. Security camera got the whole thing, but I can't remember now if Jim Lee, son of Gloin, was charged or if it was ruled self-defense. Update: I followed up with my sister, who actually knew the kids involved better than me. She was closer to their age. The news articles that came out at the time didn't really talk about the pattern of abuse that led to the axe kicking. But she did confirm that Jim Lee was sent to juvenile corrections for a while. She remembered when he got out, and as far as she knew, he was doing well. Edit: thank you for silver and gold. Edit 2. So I thought I left things vague, but apparently this incident was unique enough that people have found some of the news articles. There are more details about the subsequent legal action in those for interested parties. I've posted about this before. But some kids in our business club were so enterprising they started counterfeiting money, which resulted in the Secret Service showing up to investigate. Edit: yes, the Secret Service, not the FBI, investigates counterfeiting. It was actually why they were created in the first place. Wikipedia.org. One of the old teacher's aides got arrested for child porn and filming the elementary kids' bathroom. Had a guy selling heroin. After that there was a weekly police presence. Also, a kid bound a girl to a chair, gagged her and stuffed her in a cupboard in the woodworking shop. He claims it was to help her complete the sponsored silence she had been doing that day. A bunch of the guys had a fight club. It was actually really well planned and had been going on for years. Until one dumbass junior broke the first rule of Fight Club and posted a video. A bunch of kids got suspended. I think a couple of the seniors got probation or deferment. Edit. I think it's wild how many of you ask if we went to the same high school. I've gotten multiple different countries and at least a 15-year age. A teacher was caught having sex with an autistic student. I believe the student claimed to have loved her. Her dad was also a teacher at the same school and he left after the incident came out. Edit. Teacher was female. Student was male. There were 4 freshmen in the bathroom stall just vaping and a teacher came in, so they freaked out and didn't want to get in trouble, so they thought calling the cops on the teacher for harassment would get them out of trouble. They got expelled an hour after the cops arrived. We had a science teacher say, if you don't put goggles on, I'm going to have to spray you in the eyes with Lysol, which was probably not illegal until the student tried to call her bluff. She wasn't bluffing. The cheerleaders got caught selling morphine. The football team got into a brawl with a rival school at a local pizza place over said morphine scandal. A huge fiasco over a kid putting baking soda and vinegar in a test tube and sealing it and taping it under a lunch table till it exploded. Edit. To clarify, the baking soda vinegar incident was completely separate from the morphine and brawl one. Sorry for the confusion. Had a pretty controversial case involving a handicapped student who had cerebral palsy and muscular dystrophy. His parents filed a lawsuit accusing 2 of his handlers of abusing him by dumping him out of his chair and forcing him to wear a neck brace so he'd look them in the eye. Worst part was I don't think the handlers suffered any consequences. I looked up articles on it and all of them highlight the abuse and lawsuit. But none follow through with the results, which is frustrating. The principal hired a bunch of students to sell steroids at the local gym. Same principal gave the same students a list of kids who were questioning their sexuality with the counselor before XRs were a thing, and they all had their lockers bashed in with a baseball bat. One of the kids had his parents notified and was beat within an inch of his life. Art teacher used to hotbox her classroom and then use the kiln fan to pull all the smoke out. Edit. Sorry. That is confusing. K principal organizes mob. Mob beats up gay kids. Mob calls super religious parent and outs gay kid. Parent beats gay kid. Parent gets anger management and community service because they are an influential community member. A teacher sexually harassed like 12 students. The issue is everybody loved that guy. He won best teacher award like 2 days before his arrest. PS. No, this isn't Persona 5. This actually did happen. I'm not making a clever joke about Kamoshida, although I probably would have. This was a real guy. One Mr. Chu. Football team had an incident where somehow a Gatorade bottle ended up going up a freshman's butt. Edit. Hey gold. Nice. Not highly illegal, but not legal either. I figured out how to make fake IDs in my home darkroom and showed a friend how to do it. This was in the early 70s. Before Photoshop. When analog darkrooms and chemical-based photography were the only option. He went into production in the school darkroom. His quality sucked. He got caught. My quality was excellent. But I only made one for me. Pre-internet days, kinda. CDs were a thing. I had a massive CD collection and a gigantic book in my locker. I typed up lists of all the artists and albums I owned. So I had these flyers everywhere, and for $3 a CD I'd burn you a copy. This was right when CD burners came out and my stepdad was super into the latest and greatest tech, so we had the cool gadgets when they came out. I eventually was caught, but for a time I made Krilla money.